This video is dedicated to one of my friend. So I think that it will be useful not only to that friend, but to all those who seek to study the Islamic rule in India. So in this video, I am going to tell Islamic rule from the Muhammad GHAZNI to Muhammad GHORI. So Islamic rule begin not in Muhammad GHAZNI's time. It began in Muhammad bin Qasim time when we invaded Sindh in 712 AD. But we will discuss about Muhammad bin Qasim in very deeply in the next video session. So let us start with the Muhammad GHAZNI. But before entering into Muhammad GHAZNI, we need to understand the background of Islam in India or in the world. So during the 7th century only, what the Islam religion had flourished in the Arabia. The Prophet under the leadership of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Then after that, many powerful dynasties, Islamic dynasties have came up. That is 4 Khalifas, then Umayyad Caliphate and Abbasid Caliphate. Then by 9th century CE, Abbasid Caliphate had declined. So due to this declining, many Muslim independent kingdoms had emerged, and one of the famous or prominent Muslim kingdom was Samanid dynasty. So Samanid dynasty were predominantly Persian in nature. They had ruled Central Asia and parts of Iran. So they were the prominent dynasties after the Abbasid Caliphate in the Islamic world. Okay. Now what happened? The founder of this Samanid dynasty was an Iranian noble named Balkh. And Balkh had a slave named as Albdagin. And Albdagin had founded the another dynasty named as Ghaznavids. Albdagin. Albdagin was governor under Balkh. Okay. Now Albdagin had founded the dynasty of Ghaznavids and his capital was Ghazni. It's there in present-day Afghanistan, Afghan region. So what happens is that after the Albdagin, Subuktagin had came to power. And this Subuktagin is very important because he had fought with one of the Indian rulers, that is Hindu Shahi ruler named Jayapala. And he had won the battle against the Jayapala. Okay, Subuktagin had won against the battle against Jayapala. Okay, he was the Indian ruler, first Indian ruler who got defeated from the hands of Ghaznavids. Okay, now his son named Muhammad GHAZNI. Muhammad GHAZNI was the most popular one, notable one. His name, he has very different names because Amirul Umrah, many names it's being referred. But in the Indian context, he is very important because he had raided 17 times Indian territories and he had not faced any sort of defeat from the Indian rulers. This can mainly attributed to the disunity among the Indian rulers and the efficient army, which is army techniques, which is possessed by the Turks. Usually these Ghaznavids were Turkish people, but they don't want to associate them with Turks. So they Persianize themselves. Okay, so this GHAZNI, Muhammad GHAZNI, was a patron of art, Persian art, etc. Al-Firdausi, Al-Baruni, many other scholars and writers were under his court and were living under his patronage. So this is an example of it. So let's come to Muhammad GHAZNI specifically. He had raided 17 times, 17 times in India. The most notable one is the plundering of Madurai in 1014 or 1015. I can't get the absolute date, but it is somewhere around 1014 CE to or 1015 CE. And after 10 years, 1020 in 1025 CE, he had plundered Somnath temple. Somnath temple. Now, while he plundered the Somnath temple, what had happened is that he had heard the news that the Solangi Bhima I of Chalukya dynasty is coming to confront the GHAZNI, Muhammad GHAZNI. So what happened is that by knowing this, he retreated from the Gujarat or the Somnath temple. Okay, so the confrontation between the Solangi Bhima I and the GHAZNI was avoided at that circumstances point of time. Okay, so this is the main incident during the plunder of Somnath temple. Plunder of Somnath temple, the confrontation with the powerful king of Solangi Bhima I of Chalukya I dynasty, and his Madura plundering also was also an important one, because it is being mentioned in the temple also, because according to him, according to Muhammad GHAZNI, he, while looking at the temples of the Mathura, he said that these temples were built by the Chin, so that much magnanimous these temples were. So 17 raids were attempted or were initiated by Mahmud GHAZNI to India, and most of it were successful in nature. And two important raids are, one is that of the Mathura, plundering of temples in Mathura, and plundering of Somnath temple. Okay, that you must note it down. And he had invaded India not for establishing a permanent rule or a kingdom. It is just for plundering purpose only. It's just need to plunder the wealth of India and concentrate it on his empire. Then after Mahmud GHAZNI, the successors of Ghaznavid dynasty had weakened, and they had shifted their control, or they had loose control over Central Asia, and they were limited to Ghazni only, Ghazni, Lahore and Punjab region only. So at this time, Seljuk Empire was coming into prominence. Seljuk Empire. Now, in the shape we have three empires. One is Seljuk Empire, another is Ghazni Empire, and along with this, another empire is the Gawarizmi Empire. Gawarizmi Empire, note it down. And this Seljuk Empire and Ghazni Empire was deteriorating, was becoming weak. Okay, and Gawarizmi Empire was becoming stronger in Central Asian parts. Now, between this Ghazni Empire and Seljuk Empire, a small group of people named Gurits were living. They were humble pastoral chiefs. They were pagans, or they were Buddhist, and they were Islamized by Muhammad GHAZNI. So what happened is that these Gurits, who were between Seljuk Empire and Ghaznavids, was becoming powerful. So what was the sign was that they began to interfere in the politics of Seljuk Empire first, and this had frightened Ghaznavids. So what happened is that the Ghaznavids has tried to poison the brother of Alauddin Hussain Shah. Alauddin Hussain Shah is a very notable figure. So the Ghaznavids had tried to poison the brother of Alauddin Hussain Shah, and they was successful in it. So the brother of Alauddin Hussain Shah died. Now Alauddin Hussain Shah is a chief of Ghaznavids, Gurits. So Alauddin Hussain Shah, what he did was that he had burnt the Ghazni, the capital city of Ghaznavid dynasty, Ghazni, and had killed the last Ghazni with emperor uh, Bahram Shah. So he had killed the last uh, he had killed the last emperor Bahram Shah. So Alauddin Hussein Shah, because he had burned the Ghazni, he is considered, he is also known as uh, Jahan Source, that is world burner. Jahan Source, that is Jahan, Jahan Source, SOZ. Okay, so Alauddin Hussein Shah is considered to be a world burner. So he is considered to be the establisher of Ghurid Empire, but many historians regard Muhammad Ghori as the establisher of the Ghurid dynasty. So let comes into the picture that first it was Samanid Empire. Now Samanid Empire downgraded and Ghaznavid Empire has come into picture. And after the Mahmud of Ghazni, what had happened is that the Ghaznavid Empire has weakened and Seljuk Empire came to the power. But after some time, what happens is that the Seljuk Empire also becomes weakened along with the Ghaznavid Empire, and Khwarizmi Empire comes to the power. And what happens is that between the Ghaznavids and Seljuk, Ghurids are coming. Now, two important players are there in the Islamic world, mainly Ghurids and Khwarizmi. But Khwarizmi was having a very strong control over Central Asia. So these Ghurids could not extend their control over the Central Asia. So they tried to concentrate on India. And they don't want to plunder India as did by Mahmud of Ghazni. They wanted to establish a permanent rule over India. So Muhammad Ghori is considered as the establisher of the first Islamic empire in India. Okay. Now, what was the plan of Muhammad Ghori? So, what was the raiding plan of Muhammad Ghori? So, we will look into a PPT for that. Okay, we will look into the PPT for that. Okay, okay. So first, Muhammad Ghori had invaded Multan and Upper Sindh, and it was time period 1175 to 1178 CE. But you just remember the conquest of Multan and Upper Sindh. Then he went to Gujarat, but at Gujarat he had failed to conquer, because why? He had faced a defeat or a failure from the powerful Solangi Bhima II of Chalukya dynasty. Solangi Bhima II of Chalukya dynasty. Then what happens is that he had retreated from Gujarat, retreated from Gujarat, but he was not discouraged. He then conquered what? Punjab and Lahore in the subsequent attempts, Punjab and Lahore. Then after capturing Punjab and Lahore, what happened is that he had his aim on Tarba Hinda. And Tarba Hinda was a point of contention between the two powerful rulers of that time, that is Prithviraj Chauhan of Chauhan dynasties or Chamana dynasties and Muhammad Ghori itself. So first battle of terrain took place between Muhammad Ghori and Prithviraj Chauhan. But in that battle, Prithviraj Chauhan had won. But what grievous mistake Prithviraj Chauhan did was, he did not make any effort to garrison Tarba Hinda. So what had happened is that it had gave the another chance to relocate the army of the Muhammad Ghori and attack again. So it happened in the next year. The second battle of terrain took place in 1792 as anticipated. What had happened is that Muhammad Ghori had won over Prithviraj Chauhan. But let me say you that the number of armies of Prithviraj Chauhan was more higher than that of the Muhammad Ghori, but the efficiency of the Turkish army was far more better than that of uh, the Indian rulers, Prithviraj Chauhan, because one I can say is of that cavalry of Turks people, because cavalry, they got fine horses, horse breeds from Central Asia, from Gur. Gur is a place where you can find good horses, good horse herders, then nice iron weapons, etc. Because there is proximity of many iron ores in there. Okay, so due to this reason, what Muhammad Ghori had won over Prithviraj Chauhan, and Prithviraj Chauhan did not got support from his neighboring kings, Rajput rulers also. And one important king was that of Jayachandra, King Jayachandra of Kandalava dynasty. He was the ruler, he was other important ruler. Okay, so after he had won over Prithviraj Chauhan, he did not kill Prithviraj Chauhan. Instead, he had placed Prithviraj Chauhan as the vassal of Ajmer for some period of time. So this can be seen in the inscription in a coin they named Sri Muhammad Sam, okay, which states that the Turks had allowed Prithviraj Chauhan to rule as a vassal on behalf of them. Then Battle of Chandwar is the after second battle of Terrain. What happens is that Muhammad Ghori had conquered the surrounding places of Delhi. Now what happened is that after this surrounding places of Delhi was conquered, Muhammad Ghori was gone to Ghazni. Then he comes again to India to conquer Kannauj, which is ruled by Jayachandra of Kandalava dynasty. The battle was called Battle of Chandwar. So Battle of Chandwar is very important because after this battle, what happened is that the Turks become masters of North India. The Islamic rule or the Turkish rule was firmly established in North India, and Qutbuddin Aibak was made viceroy of Muhammad Ghori. Okay. Now, after that, what had happened is that under the Aibak's command, so after the Battle of Chandwar of 1904, or don't need to remember the date, Battle of Chandwar. So Battle of Terrain 2 and Battle of Chandwar, this is the two battles which had helped Turks to lay down their empire in India. Now after these battles, what happened is that under the command of Aibak, the Turks had conquered Gujarat and Bundelkhand. And Gujarat was being ruled by, as I've told you, Solanki Bhima II. Now, first capturing of conquest of Gujarat by Qutbuddin Aibak was a failure, but second attempt he was successful. Then Bundelkhand he had succeeded very easily, okay, compared relatively easily. Then Bengal and Bihar was being conquered by Muhammad Khilji Bakhtiar. Muhammad Khilji Bakhtiar is another commander of Muhammad Ghori. So Bengal and Bihar. Okay. Now, during Battle of Andkui against Kara Khanid Turks, because Battle of Andkui was a battle between Muhammad Ghori and pagans, which were named as Kara Khanid Turks. But in that battle, what Muhammad Ghori met with a failure. So what had happened is that a rumor was spread in India that Muhammad Ghori was killed in that battle. So many revolts had taken place. So one such revolt was revolt by Quakers. But by knowing this, Muhammad Ghori came and crushed the Quakers in 1205. But on his way to his home, that is Ghazni, Karmatiyas had killed, has assassinated Muhammad Ghori in 1206. So this is how the Islamic rule from Muhammad GHAZNI to Muhammad Ghori ends. I hope you understand something from this video, and thanks for watching this.